Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 17 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. There are times where we start feeling like we're at a crossroads with our career. Should I stay or should I go? And if I go, where do I go to next? And if this is you, you're going to want to listen carefully to today's episode. So of all the questions that I get as a coach, the most frequent ones I get, especially from people who are achievers, are about changing careers. And I know this can be a tough one to think through because you've got family concerns, you have fear of the unknown, and a worry about rocking the boat when your life is pretty good. So why even bother taking the risk? And I know this firsthand because when I chose my first career, I chose it based on this human need of having certainty, of knowing that there's going to be stable income, that you're going to have a job. And I came from a household where it was fairly conservative. My mom, my dad did the same thing basically their entire lives. My mom is still working in the same kind of job that she had basically since she graduated school. And this idea of freedom for me also came in the form of financial freedom, in the sense that, I can make my own money and I can kind of do what I want then. And so I just knew that I wanted to get a job. And that was the first thing that I thought of. And so when people in my business fraternity were getting jobs in supply chain management, and it was this major called logistics, transportation, and supply chain management, I remember thinking, this sounds good. They're getting jobs. This must be a stable career. And this makes sense to me, right? People need to get things from point A to point B. So let's do that. And so I got a job there, and I was doing a 2-year rotational development program. And this included having 6 months where you're at a corporate headquarters, another 6 months at, another job in the corporate headquarters, and then another 6 months to a year doing a job in the field. And so I remember all these people were getting these really exciting locations. They were going to Italy, they were going to Australia. But if you know what the business world is like, you basically go wherever there is a business need. So at that time, the business need when I was in the role was that we were acquiring a company in Jackson, Tennessee. And I had an amazing time there. I mean, Jackson, Tennessee is nothing like New York and New Jersey where I grew up, but I made good friends. I had an amazing experience. I was in charge of the pick-pack operation. I was helping loading trucks. I did a Six Sigma projects and managing, first shift, second shift. I saw a whole other side of real working lives and how hard work can truly be, and how you can't just fix something in a computer like I was used to in Excel, or, just figuring out something in a program and then fixing that. You had to actually unload an entire truck to find the one router bit that got misplaced. And so that reality really stuck with me, and I never regret that experience. But at the same time, I also knew that I wanted a next level, and I wanted to make a big jump. I had a different need at that time, and I started thinking of the need for significance. And this is a common need. It's a desire to have some kind of recognition, to be known for something, to feel important maybe. And for me, that included income, and that included also status. So I wanted to go to an Ivy League MBA program. I wanted to get a job at McKinsey, and I did those two things. I'm not saying it was easy, but I did those. And I realized, as I started doing all the work at McKinsey and after I graduated and with my MBA, that wasn't it, right? And so this is where this conundrum starts to occur when you start to get the jobs and you realize that that's not it. So a series of events occurred for me that got me changing all over again. So my father died suddenly, we had our first child, and I experienced firsthand the death of a team member's partner. And it was so utterly devastating, so earth-shatteringly unexpected, and so real because it was there and I was there and I saw the emotion, I saw what happened, I saw the family. It was heartbreaking. And I mean, just thinking about it now brings back tears, but I knew right then and there that life could never be the same again. And I think that for many of us, it takes something real deep or emotional for you to have some kind of breakthrough, for you to realize that you do want to make a change, that it's not okay to have life be the same. And I witnessed then how short life truly was and how unexpected and how quick death can come for any of us. And then it gave me this insane sense of urgency to make a difference with the time that I had left. I remember I was just obsessed, and every day I would go to Jay with this new thing. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to do that. I'm not sure. What about this? I just could not stop thinking about this question of what to do next. And so this is when those basic needs of ours of wanting certainty and basic needs of mine of wanting certainty and significance in my life started being surpassed by more spiritual needs. These two needs are growth and contribution. And if you ever want to listen to, Tony Robbins has a good, I think he has a TED Talk on this. It's like the 6 human needs. And for many of us, we start off with the need for certainty and the need for significance. And then eventually we get to a place where we want growth and contribution, because that is where the juice of life really comes from, when you start to give, when you start to grow. And so if you listen to my podcast, I think it was number 9 on what do I really want to do in life, you can see how a job, a job, satisfies that initial desire to be certain, to have stability in your life. And then you start to move into the next series of jobs, and they get to have some kind of pattern. You develop an expertise, and this career now satisfies that need to be maybe significant, to be recognized, to be paid well. But a vocation, right? That's kind of like the next thing you want. That vocation comes when you have a desire to really grow and a desire to give back. And this becomes then a spiritual pursuit. It becomes more than just about you. And that's what takes it to that spiritual realm, is when you start to have this desire for something bigger than you, a desire to grow to something that's bigger than you, a desire to serve in a way that's bigger than you. And that bigger than you is the sense of connection. And so that's coming also from the heart. And when you hit a place where you're starting to ask, what do I want to do next? It's because your needs are starting to change. So the question now comes back to, well, when is the right time to make your move? Tell me, May, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? It's when you decide. And whether you make that decision today or a year from now really isn't the point. But you do have to recognize within yourself whether you're one of 2 kinds of decision makers. Are you a logical decision maker or an emotional decision maker? If you're a logical decision maker like I've been, I feel the pull in my heart. I feel the pull in my heart to make a move, but I use logic to override it and override it and override it until I can no longer bear it, and I pull the trigger. I will buy the thing at the last second. I will do like 1,000 things of research, and then I will hit purchase. And that's why I've spent so much time dedicating myself to studying intuition, because I've realized over and over again how my gut instinct, the first thing that I think, my call on my heart, is accurate. And the thing that I do end up happening, which is if you're a logical decision maker, the risk here is that you stay too long. You stay too long in a job, in a relationship, in a situation. And I think back now to the times when I've realized that I've stayed too long in something were many. And I made a vow to myself that I will stop doing that and that I will listen to my heart. I will listen to my intuition. I will listen to the highest wisdom in my soul. And when you're in that space of knowing, of absolute certainty, that is when everything aligns. But you can start to make decisions in different ways, even if you're a logical decision maker. And what I will tell you is the opposite, or the other side of this, is an emotional decision maker. An emotional decision maker rushes into things, and they often realize that they may have bit off more than they can chew, or they regret, or they think that they made a rash decision after the fact. So here's a process you can use if you're an emotional decision maker and you want to refrain from making a hasty decision. So the thing you do is you use a filter. The first question is, will this decision of changing my career or whatever the decision is bring more meaning into my life? Meaning, right? Does it bring more purpose? The second question is, will this decision bring more emotional energy into my life in terms of excitement, passion, or joy? Will this decision bring me more satisfaction? Does this make sense for me to do right now? Does this make sense for me to do right now? And if you're like, yes, yes, and yes, even as an emotional decision maker, you will know that you're making the decision in a informed way that's aligned with what you truly desire for yourself and what's in the best interest for you. If you're a logical decision maker and you want to keep from staying in another thing too long, just ask yourself the same questions. And if the answer is yes, then it's time to decide. And it's time to make the decision now. And the reason I'm saying it's time to decide is because progress is only made by taking an action. It's only when you take an action that a dream becomes real instead of just a thought in your head. So don't be held back because you don't know how it will happen. Because if you know the what you want, and the why do I truly desire this, you can figure out the how. The decision you're thinking through right now may just be if you actually want to make a change. You have to make that decision. Do I want to make a change first before you even think through the next decision? And then the next decision is the what, and the next decision after that is the when. And oftentimes, many of us think, is now a good time? And we're really asking a tactical question when we really need to be asking a strategic question. It's the strategic question is the bigger question of, do I actually want to change careers, yes or no? Then what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I have a feeling if you are asking me now, if you're thinking of this question, usually the answer is yes. The answer is yes, I do want to make a change. But it may mean that you do like what you're doing, but you want to change something else in your career in order for you to love your job even more. So recognize that there are nuances around that need to be explored. The one thing that always comes up is around, is it right for me right now in my circumstance? I'm not sure because of financial concerns. So there are so many ways to change your career that feel safe if you're not wanting to take risks financially. There's also ways to change careers that are exponential if that's what you want. The question will always be, what do you want? And if you think that your happiness is going to come from that next career, and I'll tell you right now that it's not. Whatever problems you have right now in your career will likely be brought into your next career unless it's a structural problem. A problem such as, I know this kind of career requires 80-hour work weeks and I cannot sustain that. So I'm moving into another kind of career that structurally requires 40-hour work weeks. that you then know can actually be a change that's sustained into the next role. If the thing is that, like, I just dread all the problems that I have at my work, you may not ever be happy because you're always going to have problems no matter what role you go into. If it's the people you work with, unless the entire culture is toxic, it may be a way that you need to manage and approach and deal with the situation more than other people need to change. If it is just the culture and you love what you do, then yes, changing your job in terms of a company could entirely make sense. You can see how there's so many different ways to look at this depending on what the actual root of the issue is and why do you want to change your career. So it's not going to be that you're happy and so satisfied once you change careers, but you will be happy and you will be satisfied when you see that you're growing, when you see that you're progressing, when you see that you're taking action and you're moving forward in the direction of your goals. So again, you need to know what those goals are. And you need to realize that you are the it factor. It's not the career or the job. So when you take yourself seriously as the it factor, you realize that it's your job. It's your job to really understand how to harness your potential. That's why you are your most important work. So how do you harness your potential? By understanding who you are and what you actually want. So the average person changes their careers 3 to 5 times in their lives. So that's not the big thing. And again, that's not jobs, that's careers. The thing is, I want you to think about what life will be like a year from now if you're still in the same place that you're at. How would you feel whether you wanted to or not? I want you to realize that the time's going to pass anyways. That saying, time will pass anyways, that saying is what made me realize that even if I already spent years building up expertise in one area, which was strategy and all this other kind of analytical work, and I wanted to pivot to personal development, I wanted to pivot to, human thinking and more psychological work, that was okay because time was and is an illusion. Time is a construction of our mind, and similar to an emotion, I could decide how I want to feel about time. I either had all the time in the world or it was too late. And I chose the former, and it has made all the difference. So if you want help in this area, I offer one-on-one coaching, and I'm currently offering free 30-minute life design coaching where we'll work on what you want next so that you can take action to help you get there. Again, progress will change the quality of your life. So instead of spending your time just making a living, let's take the time to decide and design on what you want to do in your life. So you can go to www.mayemson.com/contact. You can schedule a complimentary session. You can see and experience the power of coaching. It has changed my life dramatically, and it continues to change the lives of all the people that I work with. So see what it's all about. No risk, www.mayemson.com/contact, and you can schedule your time today. All right, have an amazing week, guys. Enjoy your week. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye now. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.